Hey everybody. Just a reminder, if everyone could mute their audio before we begin so that everyone is able to be heard at a time. Hi, Gregory.
It's a
20-second delay. Mm-hmm. All right, so everyone is on.
Except for Demetria and...
Yeah.
How are you?
I'm gonna go ahead and get on so I can be talking. Okay.
Hey, Red, can you hear me? Hey, Red, what's happening? I'm just waiting for Demetria to get on. Hold on. Hey, Demetria.
When I tried to join, it said meeting password. Did you put a passcode on there?
No. Did you have to use a passcode, Red?
No, but it kept kicking me out saying I needed to register or something like that. I had to update my Zoom. It was a mess. I think it's Zoom though.
There's something going on with Zoom.
Okay,
it is.
When you go to it, when I say join, it wasn't like it was last time, because when it said join last time, it immediately connected. No, when you push join, you have to go down and push yourself, Teresa Rayford, then put that in, then you put it in, and it asks you for a member's passcode, like you put a password in there for it or something.
All right, I'm gonna give the phone to Ty so she can help you get on, because I need you and Arya to get on so that we can talk about this week. Okay, so I'm gonna give my phone to Ty and just go ahead and start with the organizing talk with Red and everything. Hey, Red, what's happening?
Not much.
I just want to check in with everything, you know, and see how things are on the ground and how everything is in the community. I know we've been through a whole lot of stuff this past week. And I just wanted to tell everybody, thank you for all the support and uplifting our pages and sharing information that we're putting out so that people can have the tools that they need. But I wanted to also use this opportunity to find out what more can we do to help, because last week and even last night, Ted is still using the pepper spray. They're still coming out, you know, with the threats of the LRAD. And even though we're informing people of what these effects can, what type of effects can happen to them physically and emotionally, it seems like our city still hasn't felt that that is a reason enough to you know, to stop using them. So we got Demetria coming on, but Red, you've been more connected with everybody. How's everything going?
I mean, for the most part, you know, people are still out there on the ground doing what they need to do. And the police are gonna do what they need to do as well. You know, a snake is gonna be a snake. So, you know, regardless if they say, you know, as long as you be peaceful, you know, we're not gonna, use chemical weapons and all those weapons that they use, you know, to protesters, you know, exercising their, you know, First Amendment right to protest. They still do it, you know.
Yeah.
And it's sad, and it's a lot of Black and brown people out there, and a lot of people that are new to it, you know. Yeah. It's their first time, you know, protesting. They really don't know how to keep themselves safe. So, but for the most part, I think they're figuring it out, you know.
Right on, right on. Well, I know you heard about the lawsuit this week. Hey, Demetria.
Yeah, I just was reading about that.
Well, I hope that lets everybody know, you know, we're not, in our group, we don't ask for much, but people have been supporting us since everything happened. And we've been trying to make sure as much as possible that things go out to people that are out there on the front line, those groups, the organizations that are doing, most of the people we know that are doing the actual work.
Okay. I hear you.
Getting that done, but also making sure that we are mindful of the opportunity to provide justice to our community through our legal referral service. So we utilize some of the partnerships we have, and that could make, you know, create an opportunity for us to have something to fight for that can be maintained. Hey, Demetria.
Hey.
How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm excited about the revolution we're about to make. We're going through this. No. The cat's out the bag. The
You
cat's
can't
out the
stop it.
bag. It's obvious what's going on. Everybody know, including black, brown, white people. Everybody know. You can't cover this up anymore. We've
Yeah.
said this over and over, year after year, instance after instance. I'm from Memphis, Tennessee, where we knew the KKK was the police. Our parents, our grandparents told us about them. It wasn't they instilled hate, but they told us and warned us about some of the evil things they do. And the police carry every bit of it out because they have a rain check.
Well, we basically, we made it, we legislated it. We approved it and then we made it legal. It's the law. So they're just.
It's the law.
What I keep hearing is a whole bunch of people on some of these videos where they're assaulting protesters and stuff like that. And they're saying these people need training. And I'm like, no, they'll learn more about how they're able to use the law to harness the harm towards other people. And just
it's always been that way.
Yeah, it's always been that way. I wanted to say that another good thing that happened this week, though, in regards to where we know has been terror for so long in our communities, is the fact that they removed SROs from the school districts.
Right.
And that's been a very long fight. We've always talked about the school to prison, how these agencies and these partnerships with the city of policing and the Sun schools and all the agencies that call themselves wraparound services were committed to spending crime bill money, which is supposed to be used to incarcerate our communities, not to invest in our futures. Right. And so we're seeing that the only way that they were able to achieve the disparities to create an opportunity to call us at-risk, marginalized, disadvantaged, was through the force of police, through the state violence that is inflicted upon us, through dismantling families, through those services or referrals, through mandatory reporting that was not utilized as a family planning option. And so the revolution is actually happening because the children in those families are the ones on the front line. When I first started protesting, kids were coming up to me and asking me if I knew their parents. When I first started going to McLaren, kids were in there asking me if I knew their families and their relatives, because they were not even connected to their own families because of these policies. So one of the things that I want to dispel right now is that defunding community policing is not the only thing that needs to happen. We need to issue more audits, more investigations, and then we need to ultimately issue indictments on some of the that have always complicit in this, because when we started speaking out and demanding audits and demanding information so that we could affirm the voices of the families, we were hit with resistance and even disenfranchised from some of our own community groups. And I know that a lot of what Demetria wanted to talk about had something to do with that, but Red was pointing to say something.
Okay, so I had talked to a person that knows a lot about law, and she was telling me about the like the DA's office. You know how they have the record of everybody's charges, their sentencing, where they're at, all the information behind that. They don't even have the right information on those documents. So that's something that we need to audit too. Right. You know, they don't have the right information. And a lot of times, policymakers, legislators, they use that information to affect policies. So if we don't even have the right information on the disparities between Black and white kids, adults, or whatever, then we're not going to be affecting policy. We just had a conversation. It was dope, man. I mean,
well, we're seeing right now. Well, we're seeing right now the disengagement even from the Black Lives Matter movement. There's a lot of people that are just now showing up that don't know that we're as engaged with policy and politics as we need to be. They're not engaged, they're not informed, and the civic leaders have closer proximity to those communities. And that's one of the biggest issues, is that if our community leaders have a big proximity to our community should be informed. And one of the things that we protest for is because that is our way to uplift and promote civic engagement and promotional information. So again, in my own personal opinion, what we have to do when we say moving forward, the mayor and everybody's trying to find different solutions to what's next. What do we do with the money that we're taking out of the schools? Who do we give it to? First of all, you give it to the children. You make sure that the provisions for them that have been harmed are taken care of, because they're the ones that are most affected. You don't even think about giving it to the agencies that are already established, because that's not holding them accountable. We need to hold them accountable first before we distress or redistribute information out. So I'm finding it very disingenuous that organizations actually, and I was gonna say, one of y'all might need to go ahead and mute your thing. When we talk, let's just go ahead and do mute until the next person. But I was gonna say that one of the things that I'm realizing is that people are tagging us while they're also soliciting funds. And some of these organizations are non-Black organizations. They don't have the Black experience. They have not been treated like niggas in America. They haven't been treated like slavery cattle. They have not been commoditized in the same way that we have, without power, without political engagement. And so the fact that we are still lacking in that, one decision made by a group that is not from our same diaspora, that is not working with us, or any groups, and those also from our communities that are not working with us, they're not going to make change. The change that's being done right now are from multiple communities that have been disenfranchised by the status quo, that created elements that seem to be us, that were representing our diverse communities, that were representing the voices of the unheard, those people that were inaccessible, that did not have the mobility or the accessibility to be a participant in how our lives and how things were directed around us. So they have to talk to them, and not those leaders that already could have done this work 30 years ago. Those contracts and these partnerships, all of that information is on the record. So even if we weren't keeping proper data, we have information on who was complicit in these issues and these outcomes that we're now protesting.
Yes, I wanted to chime in on that so bad. You saw me putting my finger up like I'm in church. Hey, I'm. But the whole thing is, we're all in the same age range.
Demetria, just one more time for the people that haven't met you and don't know you. Will you introduce yourself again and then go into this part? Thank you.
Sure. You're welcome. I'm Demetria Hester. I'm involved with the Jeremy Joseph Christian's case with the white supremacist stabbing the people on the max. I'm the African-American female that maced him the day before when he assaulted me and threw a bottle of Gatorade Gatorade bottle filled with wine to my eye. And so that's who I am. So I wanted to chime in on that because every civil rights activist that's pushing this and selling this right now, that's what it is. It's a sale. It's a sale. People want to get noticed. People want to get seen. We should not, let me repeat, I'm 46. Everybody in that era, how is it that we're still fighting what our grandparents and what our parents was fighting for, and you telling me we're making progress? What kind of progress we have made? We went backwards. You are not even upholding the constitutional rights that we have. Are you kidding me? And you're telling me that these activists that are so gung-ho right now, you haven't had the tools to dismantle the police, dismantle this system, and bring up us as Black people that made this community. That's how we got through. I'm from Memphis, Tennessee, and the only way that we got through is neighborly community. It wasn't the officials. It wasn't anyone else helping us. It was us as a community. We worked together. We came up with resources. We opened things that people of color can come to, and we helped them. Those kinds of things. We educated our youth about what our life was like, so their lives won't be like that, so they can be better and do better and want better and have a revolution. That's what this is about right now. That's what this is about. NAACP, Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson, everybody that's on the bandwagon right now, you cannot tell me you have made progress. It's no way we should be still right here, even here in Portland, Oregon. All the agencies that were on the bandwagon when all of this happened, trying to get sold, trying to put their face on camera, you haven't helped do anything. Nothing. It's still going on even after my incident, before my incident. These are still things going on. So how are you helping the community? But you quick to hand your hand out. We're going to do this for our community. We're going to do that for our community. But you're not even going, telling your community, you can give your community money and say, hey, everybody needs money. Your neighbor needs money. You can go next door and give your neighbor some food, money, your time. If you have a skill, you can teach someone a skill and further their education and help them that way. If you don't have money, if you don't have food, it's other ways. You can help people as a community and as everybody politically, the mayor, all the agencies that say, I want to help. We're going to fight for this. We're going to march to Washington. Are you marching to Washington to impeach? Because that's the only reason you need to be marching is to impeach. They can make that happen ASAP. You made everything else happen ASAP. They can make that happen ASAP. They can make laws that uphold us ASAP like they do other things. Go ahead.
There's two questions in here, and thank you, Demetria, because those things need to be said and they need to be heard. This revolution isn't about one thing, it's about the enforcement of violence against us for other people to achieve their goals without the investment of the people that they were supposed to serve. There's two questions from YouTube. One is from Karen, and Karen is asking, why aren't we demanding that all Portland police wear body cameras? And I wanted to say something about that. We went back and forth to the state legislature when Jennifer Williamson and Chip Shields and a couple of other legislators put that on a committee's work group. And we went ahead and passed it, and they already have the body cams. We just need to legislate dollars so that the bandwidth and the amount of time that that film is accessible and available and all the court systems and bureaucracy around it makes sense. I mean, for one thing that I've learned about lawmaking and the policy changes that we always seek is that it's easy to push something through, but a lot of the elements of the structuring and the development of these laws is not configured. People aren't thinking about the how and the congregates and the aggregates of why. When I used to go and testify about body cams, I was thinking at first that, oh, we would have access to the information. But in hearing testimony from other groups that were there for it or against it, I heard all the pros and cons. I heard information about how long it took for storage and who could have access to the storage. I heard about containment and retrieval and acquisition and where that would be placed and which agencies would be hired and all this other stuff and how long we would make it accessible and what, you know, like so much bureaucracy. So that's why I think that it's so important that people that are from communities have civic participation, because we usually ask those questions when people come to us and say, hey, we want body cams. Community members usually say, well, how does that look? What does that look like? What does that mean for us? Having that engagement before they make the decisions means that we have an opportunity to build in the aspects of how we can have access to it. How that footage could ultimately help us. Right now, as a protester, I know that since 2015, that they've been surveying us. They've been using not only body cam footage, but they've also been using live streams, and now they have different types of drones and everything else. So we have to be mindful that not only are they capturing all of this footage of all of us when we're out protesting, but they're using it to investigate and identify us. And because of their proximity with all of these different hate groups, we should be very mindful that those type of tools that we think because of propaganda would serve us, that they could harm us as well if we don't have leaders that have integrity and value in people. And we have to look at that. So being informed and being making demands, you also have to do your research. And the main demand should always be for community involvement and engagement so you can get these answers. There was another question from Richard, and he's saying when it comes to improve. And one of the things is that a lot of the people on the front line at a lot of the organized events, I've gotten word from them that they're left also picking up the trash, picking up the things that people donate and drop off. If you want to bring things to the protest, if you want to donate things, get in contact with organizations that can receive those things so that they can go ahead and make sure that there's just enough being dropped off at these events, and that the work that the products are being distributed fairly. We want your support. We want your solidarity. We want you to drop off masks and hand sanitizer and food and things like that. But we also don't want to be stuck with the mess. And then it is a hardship. You have to realize that you're showing up for very vulnerable communities. So a lot of people might not have transportation support set up as an organized system to transport and distribute these products. Make way to provide that type of service. And always, when you're there at the front lines, I don't care how old they are, listen to Black women. That's your role. And you can improve if you do that. Anybody?
I just wanted to say, for years, centuries and centuries, as I was saying earlier about my mom and my grandmom, we so strong. We carry families, other people's families on our backs. We raise families. We're so, such leaders and such wise to what's going on, and that's why we're always shut down. We're always felt like you're being hostile. It's because we're in demand. We're cougars. When you do something that's unjust, Black women have but no reason to fight because it's in us. It's bred in us. When they sold our children and took our families and took them apart, we still kept our families together. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like they feel so intimidated that we know how to survive when they've taken all the tools that they have from us, never gave it to us. So it's just like we don't even have the tools and we still make a way, and they're so intimidated they try to tear us down, like I said, from taking our husbands, our families, our brothers, our sisters. They take us and break us apart, and we're still strong, and they are so intimidated by that. And it's just so sad because we can be such a great nation if you just listen to women. We have heart, we have feelings and compassion. If you're dealing with a lot of white men, they're heartless. They don't have any compassion whatsoever. Anytime you will kill someone for no reason at all, what kind of compassion is that? And that's white man's history. That's how they got this country. So it's like you're going to listen to some people that kill for pleasure. Go ahead.
Just to you saying that, I just saw Glenn Waco had posted a video of this little girl talking to her parents about racism, and her dad was like very rude and abrupt in his responses to her. And it was like she was just like literally like, no, Dad, you don't understand, like you're the problem, like people aren't the hate. It was like he he didn't even think that that was abuse to his child. When I saw her stressing and I saw her breathing and I saw her face and I felt the voice, I'm thinking about her friends in class, her ability to love and to care about people, her ability to be interested in different things that she's not aware of. I felt her like gasping for those things. You know how we say we can't breathe? You see him choking the life out of his child, and it seems so abusive. And I think people need to think about that, like that hate that you have is fake. It's really not real. It's really a containment of your mental, you know, capacity to think that you would surpass someone else's humanity because of the skin color. Like the fact that you could even think in your mind that you're above somebody. One of the protesters told me yesterday that the police were running up on them saying, I am one, we are one, we are one. Like, we are number one. That's what they were saying. We are number one. And I'm like, what is that? And when I said that to you, Demetria, you living in Memphis, Tennessee, and having closer proximity to people even discussing white supremacy, which we don't do here. We'll say something like in white supremacy or all hate, you know, but we're not literally giving people the information. I'm looking at videos and YouTubes from our Portland protests where people are saying, who are the Proud Boys? What's Proud Boy? What, we got Nazis in Portland? Like, and I've been telling the activist community for at least the last 6 years of my life, because I've been very, you know, well known to be getting intimidated by those groups, that, hey, y'all got a problem. There is a problem here. And people like me that are the brunt of the problem, the people that they want to hurt, we don't even know that it looks like just a regular white person. We don't know that they're wearing a certain hat or a stripe on their shirt or a t-shirt, or, you know, like some people think the Punisher, he had to put out a statement that he wasn't racist because so many of them are trying to utilize his ideology and his character for that. And so it's just profound that it's a whole social culture of racism, of white hatred against Black people, of non-Black people hatred against Black people, anti-Blackness against our communities, in systems. And I'm saying systems where out of all the communities, we are the community that it is appropriate to say disadvantaged, marginalized, you know what I'm saying, criminalizing. And I think people like Nipsey Hussle and other people have talked about that, you know, that whole culture of like, I'm Black too, and I'm not even in the gang, but I know that I have a privilege because I'm not a Black. I'm not a nigga Black. I'm not a former slave Black. You know, I'm not the American commoditized Black. And so that's the violence that we're trying to attack right now. We're not just tripping off of a police contract or, you know, some body cams. We're tripping off that all of society is set up against us, and that we need to rebuild that, and that we have rebuilt that. When we were protesting and demanding audits, we were demanding the audits so that there could be clear language about how the hostility that is shown in people that are perpetrating racism, how that adapts itself into the culture of legislative policy, and how that policy literally gets funded to create the circumstance that we're fighting against right now. I mean, when we talk about the man or the system is against us, this is what we're talking about. Somebody named Jenna that has a question from YouTube is asking how and where to track protests that are happening. We're helping with mostly seeing that protesters have their rights to protest and that those rights are protected as an organization. And so we're not trying to out anyone that is having an event. Some youth have access to promote their events online, but in my opinion, a protest is like literally freedom of speech and expression to promote your feelings about something that happened. And so I won't be utilizing our platform to promote that information, because what we have realized over the last couple of weeks is that when people that are Black mostly promote community organized events to express themselves, and especially if we're standing up against violence, and especially white supremacy or police brutality, that the persons or the organizations organizing those events, even if they're children, even if they're family members, even if they're people that just want to do the right thing, that they're usually targeted. And we don't want that type of violence to be directed at anybody that just wants to make sure that their neighbors and their community are aware of what's happening nationally. So if you're doing something to wake up your neighborhood and to wake up your community and to let people know that don't know what's going on with the Black Lives Matter movement, don't understand why we're out here, make sure you do that stuff. And if you need any support systems, just hit us up. We have a website that has don'tshootpdx.org. And we do provide mutual aid assistance to any organization that is doing work on the front lines, including legal support. So hit us up if you need to. Also a note, several instances were given in the chat on Twitter, or okay, I guess I'm done. So yeah, so people, if you have events going on, go ahead and post them in that chat on YouTube. And then also somebody that has it, Gregory, if you can, if all the Black people that are on YouTube want to join us on Zoom, I think we have space for up to 1,000 people. So if Gregory wanted to drop that link in, that'd be great. But make sure when you join, you mute your video and you mute your audio. Okay.
What I wanted to say is that we really have to change the structure. This structure has destroyed us so much that it's become normal. You know, everybody normalized being poor. They make fun of it, which our economy can be where everybody can afford to live. And it's just that strategic system that keeps us down, saying that, yeah, there's poor people. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be that way. We have all the resources and all the tools, but they take that money and put it toward them. They don't put it toward the community. And they'll say, okay, I'm going to donate $1 million to Black Lives Matter. Instead of you knowing some people in need and helping the people in need, you're quick to give money to an organization, but not quick to give your personal time to change how you feel, to get to know your community, get to know people, and stop judging people for what our government has programmed white people and some Black people to think we are. We're strong. We're not lazy. We're enduring. We go and commit suicide. We're all the things that they want to be, and it's because they fear that. They create such a hate that they blame it on other things where they're nasty. They have too many kids, they this and they that. And it's all because our government has programmed them to think this. Because they'll bring up this incident, that incident, but that's not who we are. When you get to know Black people, we're beautiful. We're beautiful enough for them to take our culture, beautiful enough for them to take everything but wanting to be Black. And we have our government holding all of this accountable for years and years, and we have to break up that system. We have to break up it from the president on down. All of these people were paying to represent us, but they're representing themselves. They're not in tune with their community. They don't care about their community. They're guessing. Half of them couldn't even know their neighbor's name. Half of them don't know about what's the difference between Black and white. Half of them don't care. And it's just like, you have to understand that this system been put in play. And if we don't break the entire system down, it's not going to help the entire, from the head down. You have to break it down. And doing that, that's when you change laws. That's when you work together. That's when your community comes together and say that we're going to protest the right way by protesting the laws, impeachment, everything holding everybody accountable for having all of these things still be in play, and then prosecuting the people that need to be prosecuted. And hey, put it in play just like you put all the laws that we have in play against us. Go ahead.
Yeah. Hey, I wanted to ask you, so this week, June 17th, is going to be the sentencing of Jeremy Christian. How are you feeling? How are you doing? How is everything?
You know, I've been so excited to expose, the system and the people that uphold the system. I'm excited about that, but going through the system, it disturbs me more and more of the.
How do you feel about addressing him? Like, I mean, when y'all prosecuted him, we didn't have this uprising, we didn't have COVID, we didn't get the announcement yet. We had just got it, I think. But now with everything going on in the world, I'm just curious of how do you feel in your heart? Because I know that you were planning to do victim statements before everything went down, and then that was delayed. Do you think that there are things that you're going to be saying now that are different than what you probably would have said before? I know that how you feel is probably the same, but does the children's work, the stuff that's going on, does that inspire, any other thoughts or anything different?
Yes, I mean, that impact right there. I mean, for our youth, because like the young ladies, I'm familiar with the young ladies, Destiny, and that was, assaulted on the Max. And I always encourage them, and to see them come when I testify to encourage me was such a pivotal moment that you can pass it on. You can make it happen. You can make a difference. It was so sweet. She said, we came to support you. And I said, thank you so much, because this is our youth. I refuse to have my son and my grandson grow up like we had to grow up. I refuse to. So talking to the young children, knowing they got it, they're on the bandwagon, they're going to make a change, they're not going to stop. They are furious, they're on fire with this. I'm just so excited that we have generations and generations that's supporting this so we can make this happen. So yes, I'm excited. And I'm so blessed to have youth to support what I do, so we can, as us in the community, change so they can have a better life.
The thing is that whole situation, the whole fact that all of that happened to y'all, the whole fact that happened to Larnell Bruce and so many people that probably didn't seek justice. I was on a call earlier where I was saying, again, I'm noticing that the bigger public does not even know anything about this white supremacy trial. They don't understand that these groups are out here and that those symbols can be identified. And when we're doing our protests and everybody's noticing that there's some weird energy going on, it has to be upon us that do know to educate those that don't know. So I want to go back to Richard's question about what allies can do when they show up at these protests. Compile those symbols, compile that information, bring distributed material to the protest, call it out, put it on your social media. Don't just put pictures of our community protesting, because that is a struggle. It's a personal trauma. It's not for entertainment purposes. Put information that's out there that exists that has to do with racism. You got young babies like Sky Jackson tearing it up on TikTok, exposing racists all over Twitter, drinking tea, living her best life. But the fact that she's exposing herself to such a violence, I don't want it to become entertainment for us. And so since y'all have closer proximity to it, start doing that work, expose it, marginalize it, make it at risk, do your part. Erica is asking, can anyone come to the sentencing? What have you found out about that? Because that's something that's very important. Demetria.
Okay, so with the sentencing, we have been anticipating, the sentencing. So I get a call saying that they wanted to do the sentencing all of a sudden on Zoom. Knowing how I feel, knowing what I stand for, knowing what our community stand for, knowing what's going on right now, all of a sudden,
Got it.
all of a sudden, you want to do it on Zoom. With everything that's going on, you want to do it on Zoom. She said, what do you think about that? I said, hell no. Hell, let me repeat.
What'd she say?
Hell no. She said, okay, I'll let them know. Yeah, you do that. And if she do it on Zoom, I bet you I'm going to protest. What you doing?
That's nasty. That's nasty because no.
Isn't this for the victims? Isn't this for us to let him know how this is not going to be tolerated, how he hurt families, how he broke Portland's spirit? These people were going where they needed to go and trying to protect someone. I was going where I needed to go to do what I needed to do, and you assaulted me. All of this is normal. Not anymore. This is what they want.
They're gonna have to figure. You know what? They're gonna have to figure that out, because I'm thinking about the fact that y'all were witnesses to this person's violence, murdering. He took lives. And to be in your home and watching Zoom and speaking to a killer, a white supremacist in that space, that's sickening. That's sickening for them to even come up. Oh, we're just going to throw you in the plug-in. You're going to need essential support when that happens. You're going to need caring and support systems. There's a lifetime of support systems that you're going to need. So the court needs to be burdened with that extra support system. They need to be figuring out, how do we bring them and their supporters together so that we can make this happen? And then what do we do for the aftercare in light of what's happening? Because even the whole way that you've been treated, the whole process of what went down is a part of what we're speaking on in these protests. You know what I'm saying? So the fact that they would be so consumed with entertaining more people or just getting it off the books, that means that they're not concerned with the responsibility and the accountability that they have as the court to do justice by the victims and in light of what's happening. And I'll let you speak to that while I check out the question.
It is just a point of that. People are sitting here, how do you not know about a white supremacist known in Portland for being that, assaulted an African-American female and assaulted 2 African-American and Muslim young girls, stabbed 3 people, killed 2 in the process, 1 lived. How is it that this shouldn't be nationwide? Because this is a problem. When we were in trial, they blamed us, the victims, for what happened to us. Not only did they blame the victims, which was all of us, they recalled me up to the stand a second time, the only one for my criminal background. The only one saying that, don't you have this charge or that charge? What does that have to do with what he did? But that's how our justice system is. That's how it is with us. They use our backgrounds that was 20 years ago, saying that so they can discredit what I'm saying, but that has nothing to do with what he did. But that's why we have to dismantle the system. And you even witnessed it when we went to court. The judge gave us instructions not to talk to the juror. And so we're outside talking about the Lonell case. We're not even talking about my case. Outside the courtroom, on the sidewalk, the judge walks by, watches us, comes back and say, oh, remember not to talk to any jurors. And I stated to her, you gave us those instructions in the courtroom. Have a good day. Then I went and told the state. She had already told the state and said that she said, no, I was just saying to make sure that they wasn't passing by the jurors and they wasn't mentioning the case. You, come on now. And because she was the judge, they believed her. What do I have a reason to lie about? But because she's the judge in that system, it was accepted. When he turned around, Jeremy Joseph Christian, and winked at me, and I let the court know about that. The police came over to me and said, no, he said he was winking at his mom. All of these things are within this justice system that we need to break down. You're getting victimized over and over and over and over again, and we don't even get the satisfaction of going and meeting and seeing him and letting him know in the face. You want me to do it over Zoom? Are you really serious? Go ahead.
So check this out. You started a revolution. Emily said, what can she do? Who does she need to complain to about the Zoom? And you know, we have a lot of people following. So who's the person that called you with that opportunity, the public official that works for all of us?
The crimes victims advocate. They called me and asked me. You can also contact Mayor Wheeler. He knows that.
What's the email we should send it to?
Mayor Wheeler. That's who you need to contact. He knows all about this. He's the one who told me that he would get a copy of my police report, and I've never gotten it. I've never heard back from him. He's the person that's let the Proud Boys in and gave them a key. He's the person that knows exactly who Jeremy Joseph Christian was. So get in touch with our mayor and let him know. Close the door, lock it, seal it, stop it. We not having it.
He just needs to resign. Also,
right now, this happened on his watch. All these murders happen on his watch, and you sitting up there telling them they can fire tear gas on us, and you're trying to justify it? Please resign right now. What is wrong with people? Are you not realizing what's going on right now? We're still trying to get oppressed. You're still trying to tell me that it's okay. Tear gas, protesters, the same thing you said that you were fighting about. You're protesting, we're protesting about it, and you tear gas us? What's the truth, Ted? What's the truth? What's the real truth? What are you really telling your community by treating us like this, Ted? Can you tell me, Ted? Okay.
I'm not asking him any question. He just needs to resign. So we'll go ahead and get some promotional stuff out. But if anybody wants to do that for us, let's go ahead and let the Crime Victims Unit know that victims of crime need to be supported with compassion, and that they need to be made comfortable when dealing with not only COVID, but an uprising in support of their crisis, in support of the loved ones that they lost, because the community demands it. And that trial, that sentencing, it's a sentencing and victim statement day, June 17th. What time? What time?
9 times out of 10 is it will start at 9 o'clock.
9 in the morning?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
So we'll make an all-day event just to say, you know, make sure that people cash app you and the girls. If Destiny or Haim is on the phone, on the call, on the chat, let Gregory know so that he can bring you into Zoom, because Demetria has been trying to get in contact with you. She gave her number to Glenn Waco, and she's been waiting to hear from y'all because she wanted to make sure that all of y'all are cool on the day of the event. so that, you know, the families and everybody, whatever y'all need, you can take care and you can be together. Yeah, so I just want to make sure that if y'all need anything from us, we're here. Else asked about if we provide programming about white supremacy through Don't Shoot Portland. We have year-round programming for children and families that we use to teach about history. We have a program called Liberated Archives that literally goes into the experience of our communities, to dismantle some of the different stories or myths that we've heard, so that we can kind of figure out how to make social change possible. So we're very intentional in that work. Sometimes we work with, you know, authors, sometimes it's artists, a lot of times it's activists and just people from our community. People don't power they have in their own family history. And so revealing and preserving that is one of the most important things that we've done, because for a lot of us on the front line, getting that information and being able to use it to keep yourself encouraged and inspired, it does the work. It does the work when you know the work of your ancestors, when you know the work of your elders, when you've been taken away from your land, your culture, your world, and you've been brought somewhere and you've been traumatized, victimized, terrorized. It's important that you find and connect with your roots, because it helps you to reconnect with your own soul and your own spirit, because of the dehumanization that comes with the humiliation of discrimination. I'm gonna be a rapper when I grow up.
It's funny you say that, because when the crime victim unit, when I was asking what kind of services they offer, right? So they were like, we offer therapy, and they gave me a list of all white therapists. I had to find a Black therapist, and it took them over a year to pay her. And the first thing is that if you are crimes victims person, you have to pay for yourself to go to the hospital if you have insurance. They don't pay for it unless you don't have insurance. So you have to pay for yourself going to the doctor if you're a victim. So you're victimized in that way. Then when we wanted the trial to succeed in June, because it was supposed to start in June, we all went in front of the judge and gave our impact statements and told them that we wanted to get on with our lives. We wanted closure. His lawyers told her that they needed more time because they were busy with other cases and they have had a large workload. And she granted them until January 20th, 20. So it's just like, what? That's another victimization. Then you come to court and he's allowed to look at you, smirk at you, speak out at you every single time you go to court. She gives him the same instructions, but he doesn't follow them and nothing's done. That's victimization. All this, you getting victimized over and over. There's never any healing. There's no support as far as healing. You need time to heal. You need your peace. They took away something from you. Something that's happened traumatic to you. And how can you get that back when they keep taking from you? Financially, I asked to move to another state because I wanted, they said, no, we're not going to finance that just to feel safe. We don't do that. You have to be in a different kind of case for that. I mean, all these little things that they're telling you while you're going through court and while you're going through all this trauma and getting re-victimized over and over again. When I went to testify at the Senate to get a hate crime on the books for Oregon, they sit up there and didn't tell us that it wasn't a retroactive law, that when you were talking about techniques and the technicality of laws, that's what we're talking about right here. They write the laws and give you a little piece. Oh yeah, we'll do a hate crime law, but yet we are not going to make it retroactive. So he couldn't get charged. He's not going to get charged for hate crime in my case, or the case right now. Is because it's not retroactive. And they do those little things to try to appease you and be like, oh, okay, let me get you these breadcrumbs. But yet you should have made a law. If you talk to our community and get our community's input on what needs to be done and the steps need to be taken, we wouldn't be seeing these inconsistent little details that are not okay. And they pass all these laws for those reasons. There's no committee to go over it to say, hey, this is not it. No, we need to do something more. Get that out of there. We need to make a retroactive. There needs to be minority committees to go in there and do that, because we can't trust white people to do it. We know as a community what we need. They don't. They're at home in their houses, living La Vida Loca, ain't got no kind of connection with the community. And it's like, come on. We need people in office that connect with us, that's telling the truth about what's going on and using the money to fix it, not line their pockets. All of this needs to be addressed, and everybody's want to put a Band-Aid over it. No, it's bleeding. It's bleeding. It's not going to stop bleeding until you fix it. Fix the problem. All of these things are how I've been victimized over and over again and keep getting victimized financially. I had to move by myself when all this happened. No organizations was trying to support or anything. And even with the young ladies getting death threats and they couldn't get financial help. They were saying it when we had the A&E special, when they were having the A&E special about the divided states that we were in. She was pleading to Joanne then that we are not getting any financial help, and they still haven't. And it's like, you don't understand how hard it is to live your life dealing with this drama financially, mentally, and spiritually. Plus go to work, plus live your life and still try to maintain. And when you have the system keep victimizing you, how do you heal? How do you heal?
So Demetria, you're telling me that, because at the time, Joanne worked at the NAACP, right? And yes. I know Pastor Anjane had been at the press conference with you. So you're saying that they didn't help you?
Absolutely not. They haven't even helped the young ladies that were either. The families. I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
I don't remember seeing any of those groups, any of them at the court over the period of the 4 to 6 weeks that y'all had him on trial.
No
time that was going on, they were naming a street after another victim of violence, of hate crime. So it's just for you to say that, like you couldn't even get a place to live. Like the community wouldn't even show up. And I'm talking about the community agencies that we would all think to count on, the same ones that have been tagging my organization in saying
exactly
that we are not all the same. We do direct community support because there is no direct community support. Do you want to speak on your experience?
I mean, it was just horrible. It was horrible. It was like I was being exploited. Like you're just using me so that you can get your name in the spotlight, and I couldn't get any help. I was working for Pastor Monday Day at Poshines, and I still was working. I still was going to my job. He's having all the kind of meetings with me to see if Black churches can help, and no one helped. We done had so many meetings that I even cooked for. Still working. You didn't say, I want you to heal and take some time off. We're going to pay you for 2 weeks or whatever while I have a black eye and I'm a cook. None of that. All it was they're
Demetria.
trying to exploit you. They're trying to exploit, just like I said, Jesse Jackson and Reverend Al Sharpton. It's there to be exploited. They're not connected with their community. The little people that they feel like they're connected with, they're like, that's okay. No, it's your whole community. I'm part of your community. You're not connected. All it's about was lies. We're going to get this, we're going to do this, and we're going to do that. And it never happened. Never. Still to this day. And it's horrible. The same organizations that's on the bandwagon now, every single one of them, except for you. Every single one of them. Every single one of them. And you've been there the whole time. And at one point in time, I had no knowledge of who you was, and Pastor Monday Dane didn't even tell me or wouldn't even give me your information when we was at the press conference.
I was going to say, I noticed that same press conference that when the press promoted the information, that they narrowed it down and cut us out of the frame so that you weren't supported by the community. So it seemed as if you were only supported by Mondane and Antoine at that point. And
because they're the ones who set it up. There's the one, I had no idea that I even had the press conference till the day of. Wow. I get to work. And they're like, well, we set you up a press conference. And I'm just like, okay, to when? And he's like, tomorrow. I'm like, what? What kind of press conference have you set up? And he's like, so you can tell your story. And so Joanne tried to use that.
Wow, you don't do victims like that. And this is a couple of days after you found out that the man that smashed you in the face killed 2 people on the train. And this is how the community treated you.
Yes, absolutely. Joanne tried to use that they gave me a platform to tell my story when we was releasing the film, the A&E special, when we was at the A&E special. We gave Demetria Hester a platform to tell her story.
And they made money off of the platform.
They did. That's why I tell you it's all about exploitation, putting them in the spotlight so people can know who they are and believe them. But you're not going to believe, you shouldn't believe people that lie to you in your face, our president, as an example, in your face, just lie in your face. Everybody forget it. It's normal. Everybody normalize lying. Stop it. This is evil. You can't sit up here and think that trust is not going to be broken when you lie.
We're not going back. Demetria.
No.
What's your Cash App? Because Gregory's going to put it in the YouTube. Y'all make it viral. What's your Cash App? Didn't you say you're moving to Africa?
I am. Soon as they give us...
Go to Black Resilience. Go to Black Resilience and ask them to make a donation to Demetria Hester's trip to Africa. Because if anybody deserves some Black Resilience support funds, I know that had that not happened to her the night before, that they wouldn't have had the evidence to show that he premeditated the murder of Black women the next day.
Right. So,
Demetria, what's your Cash App? Just say it. Gregory will write it into the YouTube.
F4 OLF.
She wants to move to Africa. She's leaving us.
Oh, yeah. Have my food truck and my restaurant to spread love. I want to know what our heritage is. I don't want to believe some people that been lying to me my whole life. Everybody who's been over there say it's just amazing and beautiful, and you think I'm not gonna go? Oh, I'm finna go. Bye. If it wasn't for this coronavirus, people know me. They're like, but all of this happened for a reason. This revolution is now. And that's why I think I'm still here to get this revolution going. And what I really would love to see is all of us move to Africa and build our country back up. All this money that we're giving to a country that hates us, not today. I'm out of here. Black power.
Demetria, what's the Cash App again? Gregory said I didn't give it to him correctly.
F4 OLF.
And O, not 0.
No, right. It's for Black. fighting for our lives forever.
Yeah, fighting for our lives forever. Thank you for fighting for us, Demetria. I love you so much. I'm honored to know you. I'm honored to allow me to be your friend and just love you.
Thank you, girl. I'm just glad I have support, because it's white up here. And it's just not the white people, it's Black people white up here. And it's like, when you come as a community, and I'm so used to that in Memphis, Tennessee, where, we work as a community. Yeah, if your mom has some beans and my mom has some rice and somebody has some chicken, we got every 3 houses got a meal going on. You know what I'm saying? And we need to get back to that. I bet you I do go to my neighbors and I put cookies on their door and say, have a good day. You know what I'm saying? Who doesn't love cookies? Who don't love food? Who don't love love? Who don't love just spreading love instead of all this hate? I mean, I really, feel like our community is what can get us back to where we need. After we break down this system, our community is going to be so to the point where no one's poor. We're all having. No one's poor. What we need to be poor for when we got so much. We have so much. We have so much, and it doesn't take but a minute to show somebody love. I love you. It just takes a minute. I love you, girl. We gonna do this. Can't wait till the 17th. They ain't not today, Satan. No Zoom. I bet you if they have to put out chairs 6 feet apart, do what you gotta do. Cause I'm gonna be there. And you ain't gonna stop me. Black power. I love you, girl.
With that being said, we went ahead and had a whole lot of banners and stuff made that we're going to go ahead and give to the youth organizers and especially those young ladies. So I'm excited about the 17th because I want to know that guy is getting every piece of what he deserves. I think every white supremacist in the country is feeling this movement right now. And the fact that you get to square off and let somebody know how we all feel. I am just thankful to you, thankful for you. I'm glad that he didn't take your life. I'm glad that he wasn't able to touch the hairs on those babies. Girl, I hope that the people in the country that know about this do what they need to do to eliminate it in their communities.
The thing, what's so crazy about, I'm from Memphis, I'm so hood. We carry everything with us. So while he was talking, I'm glad you said that because I did want to make this point. I do carry other things with me as protection as a woman. My friends were like, girl, he better be glad. But what I was thinking the whole time he was ranting was that if I use deadly force on him, I would never have seen the break of day. Yet I have used deadly force on him after he did and said all the racial slurs, after he threatened to kill me, rape me, all of that. I would have never seen the light of day. And that's all I was thinking about. I want to live. I don't want to go to jail. I want to live. So I had to take one for the team and mace him. But why? Why on God's green earth did I have to do that? Why did I have to even think about that? Why? My life is in danger and I can't use excessive force. I will go to jail for the rest of my life. How is that okay? It's not. That's why we breaking this system down. It's not okay. We're not going to stop. We're not going to give up. We're going to make it happen. We're not going to give up.
Whoever's going to do it, somebody better make a shirt that say we're not going back. Like however people were trying to prepare for a post-COVID world, a post-racist world, that's what you need to prepare for. And it's not going to be comfortable. It's not going to be easy. You're going to have a whole lot of conversations, but you really don't get a choice in the word anymore, because we're not going back. Everybody on the same page at the same time.
And what's funny is that it's not just Black people. It's not just brown people. It's white people. And if you want to use your voice, you want to use your privilege, get these people out of the White House. Get these senators out of this, the places that we need to be in. Help us live like we don't have to be in fear for our lives. How can you live comfortable when you fear your life every day? You can't. Use it. Demand change with us. Work with us. Love us like we love you. Love us like we love you, even though you've oppressed us. Love us. We haven't did anything to you. It's all in fear. Break that cycle. Stop fearing us and embrace us and love us. Thank you so much.
You know what? And that plea goes to us. It's okay to love us. It's okay to be us. You got people around the world thanking us again for leading ourselves and leading the world in action, and courage and inspiration. So just keep on doing it. You are doing the right thing. This is necessary. We do have the evidence. We will back you up. We will always back you up. We got you on that. So Kia is gonna be feeding everybody tomorrow. Yesterday she had a line around the corner. So she had a community line around the corner talking about love us and take care and love each other. He had a line around the corner, okay?
And that's what we need.
I reached out to No Limit stickers and umbrella screen. Oh, she feed everybody with the love. But I went and got some t-shirts and things. So I was gonna say that anybody that's thinking about showing up for Demetria on June 17th and on June 19th for Juneteenth, because she'll be past this, so she'll be leading something. Come by and get a Black Lives Matter t-shirt. We got them in colors for Pride, inclusive for our trans community, and this Black Pride all month. What kind of
I am so glad that, people are finally waking up, because it's been a long time awakening, and a revolution needs to happen. And yeah, white people are going to deny it and be uncomfortable, but those are the white people that you need to point out. Those are the white people you need to dissociate yourself from. That kind of slick talk, the kind of behavior we're talking about, like we was telling in the trial. We was letting people know that racist white talk, we're above you. That kind of stuff. When people say those kinds of things, those are underlying racist things. You need to call your friends. You need to call these people out on that. That's racist. Stop that shit. You know what I'm saying? Call them out. Call everybody out when they do racist stuff. How about we call the police on them like they call the police on us? Make them do their job. Hey, they're being racist. It's against the law. Arrest them, and they need to be to the fullest. Okay, so make it a law that they, like y'all arrest us and come and shoot us. Make it a law that you can't just call the police on us. We can call them on you. We call them on you because you're breaking the law. You're being racist, and it's against the law to do that. We're supposed to be treated equal. Isn't that in the Constitution? Equal, right? Equal. I thought equal. Right. So, for that to happen,
we don't get equal. We don't get equal. That's
the problem. And that's the whole thing. They say it. but they don't do it and nobody's holding them accountable. If we had organizations holding them accountable, then we wouldn't have a problem. I told you I talked to the United Nations after this happened to me. And the policeman said, he's a police chief now. He sees the police in Leeds. And I explained the situation and what happened. And he said, oh no. He said, have the police contacted you? I said, not at all. He said, oh no. He said, we have 3 different agencies to investigate the police if they get any kind of report. Like I said, first, second, or third report from a citizen, from anyone, can call in. Then if he's found guilty, the police, he do serve time and go to jail and serve a harsher sentence than the regular person. So yes, it can be done. It can be done. We have to break this system down so this can be done. If you're saying you're going to protect us, do that. You're not doing that.
So you're saying that we need to contact the United Nations on your behalf and file a complaint that the city of Portland did not protect your safety when it came to white supremacy, and that they have a pattern of doing that in this state, and that they've already admitted to that pattern through the evidence of audits and other forms of release of information that has come to light, right?
Yes.
So somebody smart on the line that want to go ahead and start that petition, yeah, we have to go ahead and contact them.
Right.
You got the contact information, right? You have their contact information, the representative that you spoke to?
Yes, I have the chief of police in Leeds. Yes, and then I also have.
Okay, so if you've experienced white supremacy, violence, or racism, and nobody in a position of concern had attributed any kind of response that would make you feel safe or protected or heard, will you please contact us and let us know? We'd like to see how many people have had that issue, so that we can compile a response to support not only Demetria, but other people who have been harmed by white supremacist policies, acts, and people, especially in the state of Oregon, and especially if you've made complaints, or if it's been filed, or if you spoke up and were retaliated against, or harmed, or even murdered for speaking up. I mean, I deal with a lot of victims of white supremacy, and a lot of people are to the point where they're not going to go and speak to the police about it, because again, we do know that those relationships matter. I'm going to share something that I wasn't going to share, but because of everything that you've been talking about, Demetria, I have to share it. The other day I was leaving Portland to kind of just get away for a little while, right? And I came to Vancouver because I wanted to go check on my family first. And I get out here and we're getting on the street, and I watched a hate crime in action. This woman ran into a Black woman from Africa and threw her body up in the air. It came back down and she rolled over her and left the scene of the crime in front of all of us. This week, okay? This just happened. I have to go speak to the Vancouver police on Wednesday. And so the fact that everybody that was in proximity, I watched everything stop. I watched everything change. I jumped out the car and I ran to her, and I stayed with her till the police came and everything, because, well, we had to, but everybody there know that we witnessed a hate crime. The acceleration of her car, she ran into 2 people within a matter of 20 minutes in that area. So these things are happening in our community. The silence is violence. The fact that people can speak up and say something is happening and nobody can hear them. The fact that if we wouldn't have seen the European kindred hat, if allies wouldn't have recognized that as a hate symbol, that Larnell Bruce's killers would not be in jail. Like, this stuff is really happening in our lives, and we don't always speak up on it. I don't say a lot of things about things that I see or that I experience, because it's harmful to have to relive them, but they're happening to us every day. You could check the media right now. So just make yourself aware. If you're an ally, do the best you can to prepare information. It's one thing to say, I'm going to be a body, but it's very important for you to identify, for us that don't know, who these people are, what these symbols are, what organizations and agencies benefit from the relationships. Last week, when we said divest from organizations that wouldn't affirm Black Lives Matter, that was just the beginning of a revolution. The revolution starts when people that are attacking our civil liberties and our safety are marginalized the way that we've been attacked just for being Black.
That is so horrible. That is the horrible, and I am so sorry he had to deal with that, because I know how that victim, I know how that feels when you see something done that's so horrific and you know it's out of hate. It traumatized you. This whole country is traumatized by watching people, Black people, die, and it's time to stop. I mean, how much do you think we gonna take? No more, no more. We're going to fight. When you see stuff like that, complain, send that stuff to the officials it needs to be sent to, instead of taping it and posting it. You keep a record. There should be, that's why they're saying where we get the money to. Organizations made up for just that reason, what you're saying. For you to be able to call them and say, I just saw a hate crime. For you to say, you know, what you saw, give them the information, and they investigate it. You know what I'm saying? It should be.
Demetria, we're so bad about it. All of us there was so many people there, and they still, in the article, it said that the lady was possibly drunk that was driving, and they said that she hit somebody in a crosswalk. This woman was not on the crosswalk. She was not on the crosswalk. She was near a parking area that looks like a park, sitting on this. She was near a bus stop. She was not walking across the street. She was not from any direction. She was on the sidewalk. So for them to be able to report that, even with witnesses that were right there, that just tells you that the general public, you get misinformation. And so you think that
even when
aggravated over things that really don't matter. We're fighting for our lives. Her name was Flores. You know, I kept asking her, do you know your name? My name is Flores, and I'm okay. I got my life. I have my life. And I was like, wow, you just don't know, Demetria. It reminded me of that stuff that happened to y'all all over again, because this is every single in 20 minutes.
Yes. And see, that same kind of bull, that technical talk is misinformation. Every time they printed something about what happened to me, it was alleged assault. Now, you know, this man, he did this, but everything is alleged in our cases. But yet when somebody white, it's not, it's us. Allegedly he did it. Did you know him? Did you have a reason? It must be a reason, you know, for to justify it. Then you're saying that the lady is drunk. White people get away with so much. It's so normal that when they get caught, that's when they get angry. They have broken the same law they tell us to uphold so many times that when you actually catch them, they get pissed off and upset. Then our government has the nerve, when they're like serial killers, to keep them. Oh, you want to keep them alive so you can study them and see why they do what they do? They do what they do because you set the tone. You've let them do it for years. Kill, murder, steal, whatever they want to do. You set the block. The laws are in play for them to do it. So they've been doing it. It's normal for them to get away with it because they set it up so they can get away with it. They've been getting away with it for years and years, doing the same shit that they putting us in jail for and more. You molesting your children, you're raping, embezzlement, or anything you kill your mama for the insurance money. All these things that y'all do, and then you try to make it seem like we're this way, but we're not. President Obama showed you the true essence of being a president, and you so hateful, Trump, that you won't even put this man photo up. Tell me that isn't hate. Come on now, we gotta break down this hate for us, because it's not genuine. You don't have a reason. You just fear us because we know how to love and you don't.
Red, did
Thank
you want to
you.
say something?
Yeah, thank you, Demetria. And I'm sorry that happened to you. It's just crazy how we're constantly called to do this emotional labor while having this trauma, right? We have generational trauma, and then when we do our emotional labor, being out there, sharing resources, and trying to help others, we're still traumatized, you know. So when people ask you, why where's all the black folks? Where, and all this, and I'm like, there's several ways to protest, and that's what people don't understand. You know, um, there's other ways to help. You could share resources, you could be on the ground, you could do all types of things. And also to the allies out there, um, you know, when you see somebody getting hurt that's black or brown, you can use your body in between them and the person that's trying to harm them. That's what an ally is. Like, physically put your body in the way of a black or brown person. And also center black and brown voices. Why you protest is as important as how you protest. So if you see somebody taking up space, taking a lot of room, on the mic a lot, talking about all this stuff, just realize that if a black person comes to the protest, they're literally putting their life on the line. Like, if they make it home that day, that was a good day, So I appreciate your words of wisdom, Demetria. I'm glad that I've had this time to talk to you and hear from you. All power to the people for show. Yeah.
I wanted to say that Demetria had posted something that said somebody from our queer community was assaulted on Northeast Fremont last night. 15th in Fremont, our old neighborhood. Red, are you hearing anything about an uptick? I mean, we're always constantly being attacked as Black people, but I know that in your community that there is, you're way more vulnerable than I am. And so how are you feeling? How is the community doing? And is there anything that we can do, with our cis Black woman footage? I mean, what do you call it? Privilege. I'm like, I ain't even used to saying the word, but because I really don't believe that any of us have privilege. I think that's a white construct that tried to use us against each other so that we wouldn't realize that we needed each other for every piece of this movement. But what could people be doing to help our communities that are vulnerable in our queer communities?
Yeah, I appreciate you asking that, T. Well, as the global resistance is happening, a lot of people are getting not as much media coverage. Tony McDade, there was another trans Black woman that was assaulted. I think her name was Ayana, I believe. I'm sorry, I'm forgetting her name, but I did not hear about the assault on Fremont. As a queer person, a queer Black person, that's hard to hear. That's hard to hear. But there's several resources out there. I think there's a trans resource set up for trans folks. I'll put it in the comments when I find it. But yeah, there's definitely resources for trans and queer folks here, and on a national scale. So, but yeah, like you said, like when a Black queer person does go to a protest or does put their lives on the line, they have to worry about initial, like the flack from being who they are and showing up, and the white supremacists that might be around, because they don't like gay people, they don't like black people, they don't like brown people, anything that's not white, they don't like. So, and another thing I wanted to, huh?
Go
Oh,
ahead.
I was gonna say, when you're an ally and you're white folks, like, I know you mean well, I know you got good intentions, but you got to stop calling us and asking if we okay. You got to stop calling us, because imagine you're a black person and you got a white person calling you to talk about their outrage about what's going on, and you've been outraged. You've been feeling the pain. You've been feeling the trauma every day. We are not here to absolve you of your white guilt. We just not. That's not our problem. That's your work to do. That's what you have to do as a white person with privilege. Use your privilege to push those policies, as Demetria and T was saying. To talk to the mayor, to talk to the commissioners. That's how you use that. Don't come to us and, what should we do? You already know what to do.
Do
You
it.
know what to do. Yeah.
But do it. I just get so tired when people do
pay
that.
us for our time, pay us for our emotional labor.
Can you give us reparations, please?
Yeah.
And thank you.
Hell
Do you know
yeah.
the LA mayor?
For real.
He stopped the funds of $150 million to the police and gave it to the black community. What
Sis, I heard about that. Yeah, I heard about that. I'm like, so I don't know if y'all heard, but they're talking about
$150 million.
And they got a 600 million. They have a $600 million budget though, so they need to defund them.
They need to defund the whole. You said $6 million. What the? What?
600 million. 600 million. Why do you need that money? If you have that much crime, that means there's a lack of investment.
Right.
Bam! There it is. Now, how you gonna sit up there? How, after all these years, they made up this point where all of a sudden you come up with $3 trillion and give us for a stimulus check, but you can't give us reparations? Are you serious right now? What just happened? Are you just more talk? Y'all talk about it, but y'all can do it. They don't want to see us wealthy. They want to see us poor. They want to keep us in this level where they feel like they superior. That's what all this white supremacist is about. Feeling superior because they have the money and they put their power in money. So then I feel powerful when I have all this money because you don't. But when you make the playing field equal and our morals and our values outweigh everything you could ever do, how we treat each other, love, all of that's going to always outweigh what you do. Because y'all are evil. We're not.
I think it's becoming abundantly clear because during the time that we all had off from our communities through COVID, the coming back, people are realizing it don't matter what you got. Because when you were in the house with all those things that you had, you couldn't go to a restaurant, you couldn't go eat, you couldn't go shopping, you couldn't do anything. You couldn't just take a vacation. And so you were restricted like us. But at least you still had an opportunity or a choice. You're coming out of COVID and you're going to go on vacation. You're going to paint the house. You're going to redevelop your business. You're going to invest in some other opportunities. The kids get to take the rest of the year off and then go back to college. And guess what we're doing? We're trying to figure out how long it's going to be before we're homeless. We're trying to figure out how to catch up with all these bills. We're trying to figure out how to deal with the new health crisis that we've incurred because of all the different traumas dealt on us during the time that we've been dealing with the pandemic. The atrocities and the inequities that already were currently there have exasperated now, and even more so since now we're saying Black Lives Matter. So it's going to be hard. So when we talk about reparations and we talk about how fast the state was able to respond to the pandemic with money for businesses to stabilize our economy. Racism is a pandemic, and it has taken more lives than any disease on the record. And there has never been an investment to the dismantling to create a cure. So right now, Black people are saying, don't do it for us. You need to give it to us, because guess what? We live in the same country, and the cure to racism is our freedom. And everybody knows that the freedom that we all want is to be able to go outside and buy something, pay a bill, live, go to the doctor, the minimum, the basics, the essentials. And so we shouldn't have to demand those things. And since we've seen the stimulus, we're not going to demand those things. Those things belong to us. We need white America to demand those things. We need white America to be very mindful when they do demand those things, that they don't appropriate the opportunity for those responses to go to organizations, agencies, and groups that make them feel comfortable. Don't think about how you can use your privilege to help somebody else, because that's just as violent as anything else. You get to dictate where something goes that has to do with the problems that have been atrocities inflicted on my community. Do better.
And that's the thing, is that we're all asking for accountability. And that's one thing that white people hate to do is accountability. There is so much of denial that, oh, this didn't happen, but now it's being filmed. Everybody is getting a chance to see it. So you can't deny it. You cannot no longer deny the fact that you built this system for us to fail. We see that. Everybody sees that. Everybody sees the justice system. Even with this going on right now, I told you, I have seen the justice system work for this man. Not for us, the victims. It's worked for Jeremy Joseph Christian. He gets free speech every time he goes and says something, but they look at us like we can't say anything in a courtroom. The doctors, all the people that they tried to produce to say, oh, this is why he did what he did. In reality, you're a lazy, trifling white man that thinks you're superior because you've been taught that. You've been groomed like that. Your dad's like that. His dad's like that. Because that's how it works. This generational, systematic, white supremacist attitude is taught from generation to generation. He felt like it was his right to do what he did. And when I retaliated, he felt like he's the victim. Every time we go to court, he yells and say how he's the victim. Even when he got arrested 19 years ago for holding up a Korean store, he blamed the owner, said that he wasn't protecting his store good enough. Blame the owner, just like he's blaming all the other victims. Just like the president, every time you do something, you blame someone else. That's a systematic thing white people do all the time. They do wrong, blame other people. That's systematic. We need to break that. That doesn't belong here. That doesn't belong here. You can lie to my face, you can do what you want to, and it's okay. No, it doesn't belong, especially to me. You're not going to do it. We're not going to allow this. This has to stop.
Demetria, I wanted to ask you, the same people that want to send a message to Ted Wheeler about your court, do you think it'd be okay for them to send that to the Department of Justice, to Ellen, as well as Tate Brown? Because as far as I understand politics, the governor's job is to keep us all safe.
Right, and she knows me personally. Because when we went to when they had the care benefit and when they signed the Lionel Bruce hate crime law, she knows me. So yes, please and thank you. Yes, she knows exactly what, as a victim, she knows personally, because I've expressed to her all the things that I have endured just myself as a victim, and nothing has been done. No laws have been changed. Nothing has been changed about the victims advocate, how they handle victims. Nothing has been changed. They still handle us the same way, keep victimizing us. So yes, the system needs to be changed, and they don't help. I told you I tried to move out of the state. I tried to ask for assistance to even help pay bills. And they were like, we don't do that. What do you do? And then I asked them, well, how did you come up with the bill? And they said a senator's daughter was a crime victims person. And that's why they came up with the bill. And I said, so it had to take a senator's daughter, knowing that this happens to people all the time, for them to even pass a bill. And when they pass the bill, you still got to pay for it. I'm kind of confused. What just happened? So that's why I'm talking about going to everybody politically and protesting that they change these laws. They make it for the people. Like I said, have advocacies to go over these laws that they're trying to push, and with these little details that you don't even know about. So yes, get in touch with everybody political that you can. Please and thank you. Yes.
I gotta say that when I bought a table at the CARE event so that we could go there, because I've been wanting to talk about anti-Blackness for a while, because it's just driving me crazy, because people don't mind being called POCs, because that means basically you're a nigga and the reparations we're asking for belong to you, in my opinion. And I don't think that is anything that anybody should want, because the atrocity that is connected with American slavery is disgusting and is sick. And our culture and our generation lives that every day. And it's humiliating to be called a POC. But I remember being at that dinner, and I remember how we were treated, how Black people, how me and the people that I came with, how we all felt, including our children. And then I also remember when Ellen and her staff guy that I knew, their chief of staff or whatever, when they got up and they talked about the call line and the work that they were doing and everything. And even the fact that the Bruces and that y'all were there as Black Lives Matter organizers, as communities that have been standing up against racial violence, as communities that work very hard to create the infrastructure for that call number, because that number that they put together is based off of a product I put together for my nephew years ago in 2011 that I thought was going to be a partnership with Oregon Partnership that used to do these calls for suicide and gun violence and all this other stuff, that we were going to build a gang line for kids to be able to have access to someone and get safe if they felt like their lives were in danger. So when I saw that and the new version of it, which me and Maria and a couple of people had put together in October of 2016 as a part of that introduction, I thought about how much of the work that we do as private citizens, that we concern ourselves with, our advocacy and what we share, not only on social media, but in different spaces and testimony, how much of it is utilized without our inclusion.
Yes.
How much of it is utilized and exploited for other communities to gain access to the interests of anti-racist legislation or the concern of educating communities of engagement. Funding usually goes to agencies that would be more responsive than us. I mean, I've looked at this from a scientific point of view, and it's racist in its own variable, right?
Right.
How did you feel in that? Because anybody Black in that space, knowing that Larnell Bruce's foundation was being put together, that the murders that occurred that were, perpetrated towards harming these Black women, that we were pretty much a basis, not to say that other communities that are communities of color are not being harmed by white supremacists, but the fact is that activists, community groups, not the national organizations and their franchises, organized community to bring that impact to the state, but we were not involved or included. And to hear about the disenfranchisement also of the victims, I'm just like, my mind is just, I'm tired. Like, we don't have to continue to do this work because everybody sees these variables happening around us. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts when we were talking, when I went to the CARE benefit, they used my picture. I had no idea that they were even using my picture. I had no idea. I was invited at the last minute. I didn't have a reservation seating. I was set with somebody else, and they didn't even, acknowledge the point that we need to fight against white racism, against Black women. It was more, like I said, it was more of a, exploitation. And it was just one of those things you like, wow, this could have been something very powerful, and even if they would have allowed you, myself, or even Lionel Bruce's family to, really emphasize. They let him speak, but they really didn't let him, they were just like, okay.
I mean, we were all participating because it was like we knew we didn't have a place there, but we knew we were on the table.
But it was just
when I say we're not going back, that's the kind of stuff where I'm saying is that we're not going to be uncomfortable in spaces where the conversation is about us, but we're not included. We don't have a problem with calling that out. But the problem is, why should we have to? People know that that stuff is happening. The people that are perpetrating that know that that stuff is happening. I got a text. I saw somebody had shared a flyer, one of the defund flyers, right? And I'm not going to be forced to move on anybody's movement. I don't have to do shit. But I was tagged in a flyer, our organization was, and it basically said, it was shared to me, but it said, hey, these organizations have been standing up against anti-violence and da-da-da-da. And it was an organization that has been like anti-Black to me. And they had all the organizations, they had a part on there that said, give to these organizations. And they had them all tagged. And then they had our organization like written out so that they wouldn't have to tag. And I was like, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I mean. The muling of Black bodies for your own profit and benefits without even respecting us. Thinking that we owe you something because you don't respect us. That's as violent as white supremacy, and it is white supremacy. I saw a video of this guy in Florida with a chainsaw chasing some white children.
Yes.
His mind is telling him that and he's telling them, and he's saying, you guys are messing up your inheritance, you're messing up your future, you don't know, this is all a lie. Black lives don't matter. And he's a brown man. And I'm like, you're gonna protect the patriarchy system so that our bodies can continue funding this system? No, you have to stand with us against it. Otherwise, you are with them. And people wanted to say that he's a Trumper, but there are people in the Democratic Party that are just like that. I just got through running for office for 2 years. There's people in that party that wouldn't even look my way. And there were people that are in the activist community that I know personally, that I've stood up for countless times, that at the time that I was running, I felt they wouldn't even come to my funeral.
Right.
So what I'm saying is, because we're Black and because we've been subjected to being second-class citizens, doesn't mean that we're not intelligent or that we miss those biases or that aggravated presence of racial hatred towards us. And we know that it might not be intentional. It might be social, something that you've been programmed with, but it's not going to happen anymore. We're not going back.
At all, because this is we get it from the white people and Black people. So y'all been so brainwashed that you're willing to sacrifice your people for their cause. I mean, you just want to be glorified so you can get on TV and promote your business or promote who you are so that you can say you did this or you post this for this reason, not for the good and the cause of your community, but so you can get the limelight, you can get the attention. And it's not about that, it's working together. I told you, none of the agencies that used me so much as to talk and to promote, I asked for help to promote what we're doing. And still didn't get no help from no one. The cold shoulder. And this is something you're promoting too, and I'm promoting too, and I want to keep promoting, and you're not even helping. I want to move to Africa so I can promote even more and learn our heritage, share love through food, and you're telling me you can't help me?
You're talking about just asking them to share your Cash App so that you can go to Africa, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that because you were planning to go to Africa before this, because you were like, after this trial, I just need to go to Africa. And I was like, girl, we're gonna get you out there. And then all this happened. So we weren't even able to do anything in that whole
Anything.
frame. But at the same time, you didn't stop saying that that's something you want to do. And what it was, we all had more time with you. So when everybody disappeared after the trial, I know that's referring to. And then I'm just saying, I know that's what you're referring to. So we can do better. We can do better. Jadena's at home, stuck in COVID world. We'll contact him. You can go to Nigeria, girl.
I know that's right, because I'm ready. I'm ready to go to Ghana. I am so ready. It's so beautiful over there. Akon finna have
That's
his
where my
own.
people from.
Just see, I'm telling you, I'm gone. I am so gone. I just want to get back to us. I want to wake up in a country that love us and treat us good. I'm tired of waking up every day, have to self-medicate my happiness because I love SpongeBob, but I have to self-medicate my own self, my happiness. I shouldn't have to do that. We should wake up happy because we have a good life. We're making what we need to make. Our kids are not in danger. Our people are not in danger. We are living the life La Vida Loca. Don't you want that in your life? That's why we're trying to make a change right now so you can have that. And y'all come to Africa and visit. Come to Africa and visit this queen. This queen gonna be queen. I just want to give Mother Earth. Everybody that's been there is like, it's so beautiful. And it's like, how can you not think it's beautiful when you wake up to loveliness, love? You wake up to people everywhere that look like you. And hey, how you doing? Oh, that ain't nothing but love. So, yep, I'm ready. So ready, just trying to get everything put in play. I thank you so much for giving me the money for my dream, the RV. We finna make it like the wild thornberries. I'm finna put it on ships. I'm traveling the world. I'm gone.
I wish we could have did more. I wish we could have did more. When that money started coming in, the only thing I thought about was court. Now we can do social justice. Now we can do some social justice. Now we can break some systems. Now we can get some freedom. So I was happy to be able to do that. We can
break them chains, baby, because they've been on us too long, baby. We finna break these chains because
that's what I said. If you get money, huh?
It was so disgusting, girl, when they tried to put it on Zoom. Girl, I almost threw up in my mouth. I was like, did y'all really try to the Will? Not on my watch. Not today. What? I mean, the Zoom, when they tried to put the Zoom, the sentencing on Zoom, that just was like, this ain't number confirmation there, y'all, with that shit. So y'all need to break this whole system down. You still ain't. After you done got on the TV, after you done said this mayor and all these political people, congresswomen and men, you done got up here and said all of this, and you still with that shit?
That's what I want. So we only got a couple minutes left. Red, I want to ask you also, how did y'all feel about those initial conferences that came out? Did you see the press conferences?
Hey. Yeah, I was watching those, the little fluff. They were saying, the first one was that I watched was like, the two actors or the professional protesters was out there talking about the great talk they had with the cops. And one of them was from Dallas, wasn't even from the town. It was just a lot of.
I'm talking about the community. I'm talking about the ones that the mayor had with the Black community.
Oh, that one, when he talked to the gatekeepers. I mean,
he said he's the police commissioner. Yeah, because he's the police commissioner.
Right, he's the police commissioner and the mayor. And I mean, I felt like some of them said some good stuff, some good things about what is needed in the Black community, the disparities, of course. But I think he feels comfortable around these people. These people are the people that he feels comfortable around. And of course, as we know from history, He's not gonna talk to no activists or community organizers or
He was
nobody.
at the protest yesterday. I seen him on KTU or something with a little hoodie on. I was like, what
Yeah,
is he doing with the hoodie on?
right. And he promised not to, use the tear gas. And what happened? They was tear gas last night,
Wow.
and hit with rubber bullets. So a snake is gonna be a snake, as I
So
said.
but he had all those conferences with the Black community. He had all the coalitions that he's had as his community partners and stakeholders in city government for the last 30 years that are on the sidelines with these disparities that exist that we're protesting against. So these are the people that represent our values and our needs in our community. And they came together with the mayor and they said that the mayor made promises to them, and it sounded as if there are financial promises that are being made in regards to our betterment as a people. And one of the things that I just wanted to say, and that I'm not afraid to say, is that if the same organizations, the same stakeholders, the same staples in our community that have sat by complicit as these problems have arose and have created the circumstances we have today, which is a revolution, which is the children fighting for their futures and their lives with people that are concerned and informed, then that means that they're also complicit. And I don't see why he would be making any kind of arrangements to do business further. I think that what he needs to do is deconstruct those obstacles that we are saying are real, that we are dealing with. Why would he go to them in regards to the protest? And now what has happened?
Yeah, it seemed like you cutting out. Oh, there you are.
Yeah, it seems as if they've created a circumstance where now these people are able to parody, the protests. How do you feel about that, Red, as an activist here in Portland, or Demetria?
I feel like, it's like they kind of co-opted it and changed the narrative around. It changed the narrative around police violence against Black bodies to peaceful protest and valuing buildings and over people. And I feel like it just kind of shifted the narrative and the talk. And so now the protests are kind of like they're the energy of the protest is it's not about like Black bodies anymore. It's about focusing on being peaceful so that the cops won't hurt us. And it's like that's kind of like having that abusive partner in your life,
Right.
and they hit you one time and they're like, oh baby, whatever, I'm not gonna hit you again, come back to me. And you go back to that person and they continue to abuse you. And I'm sorry for using that analogy because I know that might be traumatic for some.
It's for me.
But it's and so that's like this, that's the thing, we can't appeal to our oppressors' moral compass. It doesn't work like that,
Yep.
And so I think what these leaders have done, because the mayor has these constituents or these people partners that they work with, that they feel comfortable around, that can give them the race class analysis, so he can sound like he didn't up and learned as a white man the race class analysis and he understands racism and all this shit, when he really doesn't. He's a white man. He's the most privileged person in the room. You're not going to get that. They gave him that voice. And let me just say that those folks do not speak for the whole Black community. And I just think that they, change the narrative, and they're trying to, he's trying to be the mayor in November. So he's going to try to do whatever he can to
See,
go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay.
We're not going back. That's the thing. We're not going back. So what he wants and what everybody think they're going to get, that's not the same as what we are. We're coming out of that. We're not going back. If they're not listening to people across the country, even those leaders, if they're not really paying attention to what's happening, they're not going to figure it out until it's too late for them. We not going back. Like the Democratic Party ain't got no niggas no more.
Right.
And
I
see,
ain't no niggas no more. We
Yeah.
not
That's the
fighting
thing.
for you.
that's the thing about them is that Ted will lie, like I said, like the President Trump, to your face.
Oh yeah.
And because he have those black constituents
Yep.
on his team to say, oh, he's going to do what he said he's going to do, but they're
No,
all
no.
getting a cut. But they're
Yeah.
all getting a cut. They're all
The
taking
first thing they said was he's making promises, and I hope he
That's
gives
it.
the.
But that's the thing. Everybody knows he's making promises,
And
he's
our
not gonna
lives are worth more than that. And our lives are worth more than that. That's
exactly.
that's to the detriment of our safety. These people, after saying they weren't going to use this deadly chemical, doubled up on it. They attacked kids, and they know these are children from this community, this city. These are the people in Portland that you're harming.
Ted just gave them the open call to harm us. He just gave them the door. He didn't take no accountability for what we're marching for. He's talking about property. He's talking about police, when it's all about how you've let the police handle us. How you gave them the key and said it's okay for them to lock us up, kill us, beat us, everything. You've said it's okay because you're still to this day trying to hold up this same thing. After this is what we're protesting about, you're still trying to justify it. You're still trying to coax us and say it's about the property, the buildings. You're getting funding for that. Fuck them fucking buildings. It's about the principality, and he knows that. It hasn't been any riots since the first night. It's only the police that is tear gassing the protesters. It is not us. They're trying to make it seem like it's rioters. No, the peaceful protesters are getting tear gassed. Then they set up for the other people to come and riot. It's all a setup. What is Bricks doing at the places where people are supposed to
Man.
come on? I mean, y'all got to realize that this shit is a setup. Ted Wheeler know exactly what he's doing. Get back in the house. Get back in the house. Joanne, you signed it and said we should be the one. You signed off on that? And you're supposed to be part of our community, and you're doing what's best for us. You're letting them tear gas our kids. You know black people is out protesting, and you just gave them the okay to do what they want to us. You said, okay, go right ahead, and I'll get up and tell them and lie to them and tell them, oh, we're going to change, but you're never going to do it. You can't do that anymore. The cat's out the bag. You're a liar. Resign. Give it up. Give the ghost up. It's not you anymore. Your cronies and everybody that's on your side that's co-signing for you, give it up.
Another seat is opening up on the city council. Another seat is opening up on the city council. Another seat is opening up on the city council.
Another seat is opening up on the city council. Another seat is opening up on the city council. You want to use your privilege? Now is the time. Vote minority in office. Hello.
And vote Joanne out.
A minority that's of the community. We don't want anybody that's going to harm our community. Co-sign on the white people harming our community, our police harming our community. You giving your signature because you are getting a cut. It's something you're getting out of it. You think your face because you're black, we're going to believe what you say. We know you liars too. We know every one of you are holding your hand out so that you can get the attention and the money that comes with all of this. Like we're saying, everybody's donating.
And this is the thing. And here, and hold on. And let's hold on real quick, Demetria.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the thing. If you're actively fundraising for Black excellence or resilience or any of those things, I hope that you're sending that money to George Floyd's daughter or any of those multiple children in this community who have been affected by gun violence or police brutality. Because I know Quanez Hayes, his mama, and all his brothers and sisters, they could definitely use some support. Larnell
Help
Burroughs brothers and sisters, they could definitely use some support. There's a whole lot of children out here, especially like Lil King, his mom got killed in gun violence. He can use some support. There's a lot of children in this community whose families, whose grandmas and aunties and people who don't have the resources could actually use that resilience fund, and they don't need you to fix a meal for them and drop it off. You know, somebody asked me that question. I would think if you're able to raise $400,000, that we're such a small part of the population, that's enough to give at least every Black person $500 stimulus check. I mean, come on, let's do that, okay? You want to help Black people, we don't need you to feed us. We need you to ensure that you reparate. And especially if you moved here and you know that you moved here to a community where the Black people have been disenfranchised, and you've created a career off of promoting that Black disenfranchisement as a Black person, and then you don't give back to this Black community unless you feel how it might be appropriate, you make that decision. Nah.
Because I've asked them.
It's violent. That's what Black on Black crime looks like. Black on Black crime,
yes.
Gun violence. It's when Black people rob Black people's lives.
And then don't even use the money for what's needed. Because I did ask them if they could help me in radio silence. Radio silence. Now you're pulling in as much as you're pulling in, and you're telling me that you can't help me to fight the cause that you're fighting for. You want to choose who you give the money to, prescriptions, this and that and that, but yet someone standing up for the cause, and you gave me radio silence. Every organization gave me radio silence, every single one, and you're just like, I cannot understand how you're using me, and you've used me to exploit whatever you're doing, but yet you cannot contribute to the right cause of changing this systematic system that we have so that we all can be successful, achieve, know our history, know what's right, all of that.
Protesters to tell the people that are raising money because George Floyd died to donate the money to the families of the people that are living without their loved ones.
Right. The people that's been affected, their neighbors, the young lady who just, you could tell she's mentally broke down, who taked it. I mean, give her support, pay for her to go to therapy, pay for her to go to therapy. I'm telling you, this hurts us every day. It's mentally draining to get up and have to know you got to go into a world that hates you. We need to heal. We need to heal. We need time off to heal, relax, love ourselves over again. That's what we really need. We need that, because dealing with this every day, plus the things you have going on emotionally, the scars you have that your parents left, the scars that you have that your grandparents left. I mean, all of this is a lot to weigh on your back and still have a smile on your face and ready for whatever brings your way when it's God on your side. And that's what it's about, having faith. And, knowing that you have that strength in you. And even when you don't know where it's coming from, you just get this strength of power, because that night, I promise you, that strength and that viciousness came out like, not today. Yes. Fed up. We're not going back.
We're not going back. And with that, and with saying that, we're going to come to a close. So contact the Urban League, NAACP, Apano, any of those other organizations, Unite, Oregon. Contact those organizations and ask them how much of the money that they're raising right now by tagging Don't Shoot PDX, how much of that money is actually going to the families that were affected by gun violence or police brutality here locally. We want to see that happen. If they don't have plans for it, ask them to make those plans in honor of George Floyd's death, or to go ahead and forward that money over to his daughter. Black power, y'all.
Black
power. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.